Pretty different guy, though. Okay, do we start? Okay. Okay, hello everyone. I guess we're starting right now. Hi. Thank you for being here. This has been awesome so far. So this panel is Empowering Careers, Tools and Insights for Students with Disabilities. And I'm Mollie Connelly-MacNeill, and this is Isaac Garcia. We're gonna talk a little bit more about ourselves in a second. So to give you the agenda, we're gonna talk about career services resources at ASU today. Then we're gonna talk about Isaac's story, and then we're gonna have time for questions and discussion. Also, maybe can we turn off the music? Thank you.
I thought I was hearing something.
It's not just you.
Sure. No, I was like...
Okay, thank you. Sorry, that was kind of distracting me. Okay, so hi, I'm Mollie Connelly-MacNeill. I'm a career advisor at ASU. So I specialize in helping students and alumni with disabilities. I started this role here, and I am developing it. So I was on a trajectory myself of working full-time as an ASU academic advisor. I experienced an unexpected chronic illness, series of chronic illnesses. The thing about chronic illnesses is that they're chronic, so those are complicated, and it kind of changed my career trajectory, and now I kind of needed a part-time job, and luckily career services was a great place for that, and they have allowed me to develop this specific area within career services when I saw, hey, other people like me need to be seen here. And need to have, thank you, and thank you, and need to know that there's visibility here and that there are specific job boards and resources that can help them even more than just the basic career services stuff. So I also plan events for and organize resources for this population, more on that later. And then I work Tempe part-time. My email address and my phone number are on the slide, mcconnell, mcconnell at asu.edu, 480-965-3662. And I have a BA and MA from English at ASU. Visual description, I am a white woman with brown hair, in her 30s, and I'm wearing a black dress and black and white blazer. And Isaac, I'll let you step up now.
All right. So hello everybody, my name is Isaac Garcia. I am most recently a graduate from ASU. I just graduated with my Master's of Science in Justice Studies and a graduate certificate in disability. Over my time here, I have had quite a few different roles at ASU itself. I have worked as a management intern in the Student Accessibility Office, as well as in the Memorial Union, and most recently I just got hired as a International Student Services Coordinator at the ISSC. A lot of that in part thanks to Mollie, so we'll be talking about that in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I am also a person who identifies as having a disability. I was born visually impaired, legally blind, and kind of just through my experiences at ASU and even just like navigating the job market, I've really come to learn a lot about my own disability, whether that was working in the Student Accessibility Office and really just trying to work in every environment that I've been in to create and foster more of a inclusive environment for students with disabilities. And as a visual description, I am a Hispanic male. Today I am currently wearing a white shirt with a red and blue tie and black slacks.
Okay, so we saw there was a growing need for career services that can be tailored to people experiencing a disability. So I asked to create this role, and luckily Career Services was very open to it. One of the things I've been trying to put together is this website, and so bear with me while I take us, the screen is still shared, right? Yes, okay, good. So if you take anything away from this presentation, I hope it is this website. It is, if you just Google ASU Career Services Disabilities, that is to be the easiest way to find it. But basically, I'll give you a little tour of this, and I would love for you to share this with anyone. Basically we have information about the ADA. We have upcoming events on this right-hand side here. We have all of my information. I don't know why my picture is very small today. Usually it's a lot bigger. But today it decided to be really small. So my contact information, emailing me, easiest way to make a career advising appointment with me. I also have offered drop-in career advising hours. I try to offer them at the different sales locations across the campuses. It's gotten a little complicated this semester, me trying to like just bounce to like West Valley and Poly and be here on Zoom, etc. But the whole point of offering the drop-in hours is I want any student who has questions about career to be able to access me in a space that's comfortable for them, and in a way that's a little more casual. An appointment can feel a little intimidating, although I don't want it to be. Like, I want you to come in and see me, but a one-on-one can be. So drop-in is a little more casual, and it's at sales, so people can just kind of come in, ask whatever career questions they have. I'm going to try to make this a little more open next semester, but they are currently every Wednesday at sales here in Wilson Hall, 11 to 1 in Wilson Hall 136B. This you can download, etc. One big project I'm really excited about is researching and posting all of these job boards that are specifically for promoting jobs and recruitment areas for students with disabilities, chronic illness, and neurodivergence. So we have chronically capable, we have disability solutions, higher autism, all of these wonderful employers that are out there. Just wanted to try to gather them all and put them on one page. There are so many more than this, but these are some that I've kind of vetted and make sure are good ones. Integrate, Lime Connect, just great places that, you know, if you're just looking for a place to start. I know that one of the earlier panels, people were talking about how they went from unemployment to employment, and how hard it was to look for jobs. And I feel like even 5 years ago, when I was looking for sort of jobs for people with chronic illnesses that might be a little more flexible, because if you have to take a lot of time off for the doctor, you know, it was just really hard to search for those terms, and just kind of not knowing if you might have to take a month off or whatever. But then you have places now that you can just click on, like Chronically Capable, and that whole job board integrates flexible work into their job offerings. So it's awesome. Also, the DEI, Disability Equality Index. Most inclusive companies to work for in 2024. This is an awesome list you can click on. I'm not going to do it now because I'm afraid the link will just go forever. But you'll see Adobe on there. You'll see all these wonderful companies that you might not have expected. It's really cool. And then information on updating your resume. These are things that students can click on their own. Any of this can be accessed by students on their own. So they don't need to see a career advisor to just click on all of this information, but I am here, or the other career advisors as well, to help guide people through, because there are a lot of resources. How to request accommodations guide. We have evaluating your skills guides. We have videos on disclosure, landing a job with a disability, inclusive company videos, articles around creating an accessible work environment, and so on. So just aggregating resources here. And then soon there will be specific accessibility and disability related events posted on the site. I'm still trying to figure that all out. All right, I think we're back to this. Okay, so I already talked about dropping in career advising. So now I want to get to the specific tools. These are all free, all accessible to all ASU students and alumni forever. So, Pathway U, I'm just going to go over real quickly. This is my #1 favorite career services tool. I am obsessed with it because I always wanted to love those assessment tests and the and those interest tests, but I I always like was very disappointed, and finally something has not disappointed me, and it's Pathway U. It's a company that ASU subscribes to, and logging in with your ASU right, you create an account, you take 4 assessment tests that explore your interests, your work conditions, your values, things like that, and then they intersect all of that information and suggest areas of interest. So like my number one area, which is a broader kind of idea, is education. That fits, right? And then within education, they suggest specific careers. So, you know, career advisor was one of them, teacher was one of them, principal was one of them. So you can click on those careers. Okay, that's cool. What's even cooler is once you click on one of those careers, say I click on principal, it will give you jobs in your area. You can type in your zip code, any zip code, it doesn't have to be local, and find principal jobs in your area. So it's narrowing down from your vaguest interests to your most specific career in your area that you can, or job that you can apply for right now. So it's really great. It also tells you what you would do day to day at each of those jobs. What is it like to be, we had an acquisitions librarian in one of the earlier panels. What is it actually like to do that each day? What is the required education? It's really great. One of the things that I think makes it really accessible is they ask questions about your working condition preferences. So you can talk about, do I need lots of silence? Do I need to work alone? Do I need lots of specific directions written out for me? Do I need to be able to not have to drive? All of those things are taken into account, so I think they've taken accessibility into making this tool. I can't say that for every tool. But ASU Career Services does have a baseline accessibility. Somebody who works with IT accessibility knows this better than me, but they do have to vet these tools that we buy through basic guidelines. So we know that these tools meet a good basic level of accessibility. I just specifically like that one. Job market insights, I'm not gonna go too much into, but you could explore various industries by typing in your industry, architecture. It will give you aggregated information from national information from this year on the top companies that hire architects. You can filter by your state. Okay, what are the top companies that hire architects in Arizona? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What are the top keywords you should search for if you're looking for a job in architecture? Here are the top keywords you should look for. What percentage of architects have a bachelor's degree versus an associate's degree versus higher education versus a master's degree? Very helpful information. Again, career advisors can help guide people through those. We also have a fancy AI resume review tool called VMOC. Students don't even have to come in. They can access this tool, set up an account, submit their resume, an AI tool will scan it and give them back results. You used the word created too many times in your sentences describing your jobs. You used a extra large font over here that you didn't notice. Very helpful. We always recommend working on your resume with a person as well. But this is a good place to start. It's free, it's easy to use, and it's just, you can scan the QR code or search for it on ASU Career Services website. Highly recommend as a first step. My other favorite tool is Big Interview. This is a very accessible interview tool. This gives you sort of AI interviewers that you can practice questions with. You can record yourself, and they will give you feedback. Now, at first, I was very nervous that the AI feedback would be sort of dismissive or not inclusive. It might give you feedback that was derogatory for people with disabilities. No, it gives you feedback on things like, you might have given too long of an answer to this question. You should make it more concise. You use this word so many times, maybe vary your vocabulary, that sort of feedback. You can practice interview questions per your industry. So if you want to specifically practice interview questions for becoming an investment banker, you can do that here. Again, something you can access on your own, but we can also work with you as well. There's all kinds of interview prep appointments. We do mock interviews as well at Career Services, so I wanted to give that information. And then we also, I don't want to go into this as well because there's just not enough time, but if you are interested, you can scan this QR code and you'll get this whole tracking of your, it's a progress tracker for applying for jobs. So it's a huge spreadsheet that comes up that if you want to, I think I put this on here for accessibility because I like to keep organized and I find it very overwhelming to apply for jobs, and this just keeps everything nice and organized. You fill in the spreadsheet that's already made for you. I don't want to make a spreadsheet, but I do want to enter data into a spreadsheet that is very easy, and that you can do here. So highly recommend using this, and it just keeps things nice and easy to find, and you can make it your own. You can also track your professional organizations on here, networking opportunities, just all kinds of stuff. A couple of other things just to kind of point out what I'm trying to have us do at Career Services is we have some best practices for locating disability-friendly employers. So we work with students to Google search for disability-friendly employers. We examine their marketing, looking at their DEI statements to make sure that disability inclusion is aligned with their brand. We do deep dives into job descriptions. This is usually at the point when we're looking to apply for a job, like an advisor and a student are working together to help a student apply for a job. We're trying to read between those lines because every job description says, there's something about disability inclusivity in there, but you really want to make sure because the minimum is there, but there are companies that are just plain better to work for and more supportive. And also asking for referrals. Do you know other people with disabilities? Where do they work for? Earlier we heard from someone who said that he worked at terrible places until he got to ASU, and then they were really supportive with disabilities here. So referring other people is a huge thing. I already showed you a lot of the job boards on there, so I'm not going to go too much into this, but we're just finding more and more over time. And then we also talk a lot about accommodations and disclosure. So understanding the basic rights of ADA, discussing disclosure, if you want to disclose, when you want to disclose, how to disclose. And then identifying needed accommodations. Obviously, that is also a conversation with the employer, but identifying what accommodations are needed with the student and thinking about things that they might have not even thought that they need, but then, oh yeah, I do need that. That's not even, I didn't even know that was available. That comes up a lot. And then preparing for conversations with employers is something we also do. So now, okay, I want to turn to Isaac. This is like the main thing I wanted to make sure that you guys saw. When Isaac and I met, he was about to graduate and he was looking for full-time employment. And so I'm going to hand this over to you. Can you talk a little bit more about what you're looking for when you were looking for a job when you first came to see me? Thank you.
Yeah, so when I had first initially kind of graduated and was trying to figure out what it was that I had kind of wanted to do next steps, I was really hoping to kind of stay within the academic kind of education area. Primarily at ASU, I did look at other universities, but being that I did just graduate from Arizona State and that I did already have some work experience, it just felt like the most comfortable for me to be able to stay at ASU. But really when it came to kind of the navigation of applying and figuring out cover letters and figuring out how to really kind of tailor cover letters and resumes even to whichever specific job that I was applying to at the time, that's really kind of where Mollie and Career Services just came in and was really helpful. I think for me, I really wanted to be able to find a job that dealt with education, but I think because I was like so used to being in classes for so long, I wasn't sure if I necessarily wanted to, how do I want to say? I wasn't sure if I necessarily I wasn't sure exactly like where I wanted to fit in within education. So there were quite a few different roles that I was looking for. I was kind of looking through like advising type positions. I was looking at a couple different coordinating positions, and yeah, I think for me, I thankfully was able to find a really awesome opportunity at the International Student and Scholar Center that really aligned with kind of what I was hoping to get out of my next job. I really wanted to be like kind of student facing and really still kind of get that interaction with students. I did also get the opportunity to study abroad the last semester of my bachelor's degree. So being able to kind of work with an international population was also something that I wasn't necessarily expecting to get the opportunity to do. But when I saw that the International Students and Scholars Center was hiring, like that is really kind of what drew me to that position as well.
So some of the things real quick that we worked on, just to give like a, here's what we actually did, boots on the ground. We did a resume review, a cover letter review. We looked at these job boards, obviously ASU, Ability 360, Career Circle, UPC of Arizona. We did a little interview prep, but you were really good, so we didn't have to do a lot of that. We updated your LinkedIn profile, and we talked about ASU workplace accommodations once you got the job. We talked about dragging software, screens that would be best, and ergonomic chairs. Here's an example. Like Isaac said, I could take a picture of his LinkedIn. So I think it looks really, really good, and we made it nice and clean. And obviously, you took off the looking for work, which was great. So it looks really good and very clean and professional. And then we also used ChatGPT to do some interview prep help. So we took, this is a big, awesome, I think, way to use ChatGPT. We took the exact job description, put it into ChatGPT, and said, can you write some interview practice questions for this job? And then he and I went over those, and I think hopefully that was pretty helpful.
Yeah, no,
I think
definitely.
some of the questions aligned pretty closely with what they ended up asking you.
Yeah.
And then some upcoming events. So just real quick, we have two. So there's a open panel discussion coming up. This is a QR code, and I also have physical flyers if people want any. So we're going to have some top employers come to the MU November 19th from 4 to 5. And talk about disclosure and workplace accommodation. So far we have Integrate and Disability Solutions, two really great employers who specialize in assisting and hiring people with disabilities, and also Chase Bank, so that's really cool. And then we also have a very similar one to this. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of a deeper dive into ASU career resources for students with disabilities. It's going to be on Zoom November 13th from 4 to 5. We're just going to go into the tools a little bit more deeply. So you can scan these QR codes. There are also events are up on Handshake. So if you just search the word disability on Handshake, you will find my events that I keep creating. And you can register for them there. They're always free. They're always on Zoom, but some are also in person as well. And so I know we are like almost out of time, but does anyone have any quick questions for us? Sorry, we wanted to have time for questions, but I went on about resources a lot.
We have time for questions if
Okay.
there are any questions. Does anyone have a question? Coming to you, Terry.
And I can't see the Zoom, so I don't know if there's any questions.
Thank you. This was a great presentation.
Thank you.
I was just curious, Isaac, where did you go on your study abroad and what did you think about that?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good, Molly. Yeah, so I got the opportunity to study at the University of Amsterdam my last semester. I was there from like late January to early June. It was a really awesome opportunity. I got to travel to about like 8 different, to about like 8 different countries while I was out there. And then it was also really cool to be able to just get to like network with a lot of international students, because the dorm that I was staying in at the time, it was all international students. So really just being able to get to like bond and connect with people that I probably wouldn't have otherwise, it was a really awesome opportunity.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Molly and Isaac. Any other questions before we break? And don't go anywhere. We have food right over here. And Gemma Garcia coming up to tell us about additional opportunities to share the successes in the future of learning space. But feel free to grab some food while we get set up for Gemma.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I lost my folder somewhere. Oh, there it is. It's under the computer. Oh, good.
Got it.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.